भगवते वासुदेवाय। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्री कृष्ण भगवान की जय।
पालया शुमां बाल गोपाल पालया शुमां बाल गोपाल पालया शुमां भक्त वत्सल कृपाजलधे हरिभक्त वत्सल कृपाजलधे हरिभक्त वत्सल कृपाजलधे हरिभक्त वत्सल कृपाजलधे नील नीरद शरीर कृष्ण नील नीरद शरीर धीरतर नील नीरद शरीर धीरतर नील नीरद शरीर धीरतर नीरज कर निरूप नंद कर नीरज कर निरूप नंद कर लीलया गोपवेशधर मुरलीधर श्रीधर दामोदर वर लीलया गोपवेशधर मुरलीधर श्रीधर दामोदर वर बाल गोपाल पालया शुमां भक्त वत्सल कृपाजलधे चाणूर मल्ल हरण निपुणतर चाणूर मल्ल हरण निपुणतर चरण निहत शकटासूर मूरर चरण निहत शकटासूर मूरर माणिक्यमकूट हार वलयधर माणिक्यमकूट हार वलयधर मते भकुम्भ भेदन पटुतर मते भकुम्भ भेदन पटुतर आणवादि विजय मानसाकर आणवादि विजय मानसाकर आपहत कंससूरनत भूसूर आपहत कंससूरनत भूसूर द्रोणकर्ण दुर्योधनादि हर द्रौपदी मानसंरक्षणकर द्रोणकर्ण दुर्योधनादि हर द्रौपदी मानसंरक्षणकर वैणिक गायक गुरुगुहनुतपुर वैरिविहित गोपिका मनोहर वैणिक गायक गुरुगुहनुतपुर वैरिविहित गोपिका मनोहर बाल गोपाल पालया अशुमां भक्त वत्सल कृपाजलधे
नमः परमर्षिभ्यो नमः परमर्षिभ्यां हरिः ओम् अन्तरायतिमिरूपशान्तये शान्तपावनमचिन्त्यवैभवम् तन्नरं वपुषि कुञ्जरं मुखे मन्महे किमपि तुन्दिलं महः गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। यस्यान्तन्नादिमध्यं न हि करचरणं नामगोत्रं न सूत्रं नो जातिर्नैव वर्णा न भवति पुरुषो नानपुंसं न च स्त्रीं न आकारं नो विकारं न हि जनिमरणं नास्ति पुण्यं न पापं ತತ್ವಂ ನೋ ತತ್ವಮೇಕಂ ಸಹಜಸಮರಸಂ ಸದ್ಗುರುಂ ತಂ ನಮಾಮಿ. ಸದಾಶಿವಸಮಾರಂಭಾಂ ಶಂಕರಾಚಾರ್ಯಮಧ್ಯಮಾಂ ಅಸ್ಮದಾಚಾರ್ಯಪರ್ಯಂತಾಂ ವಂದೇ ಗುರುಪರಂಪರಾಂ. ಮೌನವ್ಯಾಖ್ಯಾ ಪ್ರಕಟಿತಪರಬ್ರಹ್ಮತತ್ವಂ ಯುವಾನಂ ವರಿಶಿಷ್ಟಾಂತೇವ ಸದೃಶಿಗಣೈರಾವೃತಂ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮನಿಷ್ಠೈಃ ಆಚಾರ್ಯೇಂದ್ರಂ ಕರಕಲಿತಚಿನ್ಮುದ್ರಮಾನಂದರೂಪಂ ಸ್ವಾತ್ಮಾರಾಮಂ ಮುದಿತವದನಂ ದಕ್ಷಿಣಾಮೂರ್ತಿಮೀಡೆ ವೇದಾಂತಾರ್ಥವಿಭಾಸಕಾಯ ಯತಯೇ ಶಾಂತಾಯ ಸನ್ಯಾಸಿನೇ ನಾನಾವಾದಿನಗೇಂದ್ರ ಸಂಘಪವಯೇ ಯೋಗೀಂದ್ರವಂದ್ಯಾಯ ಚ ಮೋಹಧ್ವಾಂತದಿವಾಕರಾಯ ಭಗವತ್ಪಾದಾಭಿಧಾಂ ಬಿಭ್ರತೆ ತಸ್ಮೈ ಭಾಷ್ಯಕೃತೆ ನಮೋऽಸ್ತು ಸತತಂ ಪೂರ್ಣಾಯ ಬೋಧಾತ್ಮನೇ. ಅಪಾರ ಸಚ್ಚಿತ್ಸುಖವಾರಿರಾಶೇಃ ಯಸ್ಯೋರ್ಮಿಮಾತ್ರಂ ಭುವನಂ ಸಮಸ್ತಂ ಗುಹಾಹಿತಂ ತಂ ರಮಣಂ ಗಭೀರಂ ಚಿಂತಾವಿಹೀನಂ ಹೃದಿ ಚಿಂತಯಾಮಿ. ದೇಹಂ ಮೃಣ್ಮಯವಜ್ಜಡಾತ್ಮಕಮಹಂ ಬುದ್ಧಿರ್ನ ತಸ್ಯಾಸ್ತ್ಯತು ನಾಹಂ ತತ್ತದಭಾವಸುಪ್ತಿಸಮಯೇ ಸಿದ್ಧಾತ್ಮಸದ್ಭಾವತಃ. ಕೋಹಂ ಭಾವಯುತಃ ಕುತೋ ವರಧಿಯಾ ದೃಷ್ಟ್ವಾತ್ಮನಿಷ್ಠಾತ್ಮನಾಂ ಸೋಹಂ ಸ್ಫೂರ್ತಿತಯಾ ಅರುಣಾಚಲಶಿಪಃ ಪೂರ್ಣೋ ವಿಭಾತಿ ಸ್ವಯಂ. ಯೋऽन्तಃ ಪ್ರವಿಶ್ಯ ಮಮ ವಾಚಮಿಮಾಂ ಪ್ರಸುಪ್ತಾಂ ಸಂಜೀವಯತ್ಯಖಿಲಶಕ್ತಿಧರಸ್ವಧಾಮ್ನಾಂ ಅನ್ಯಾಂಶಹಸ್ತಚರಣಶ್ರವಣತ್ವಗಾದೀನ್ ಪ್ರಾಣಾನ್ನಮೋ ಭಗವತೆ ಪುರುಷಾಯ ತುಭ್ಯಂ. ಜನ್ಮಾದ್ಯಸ್ಯ ಯತೋನ್ವಯಾದಿತರತಶ್ಚ ಅರ್ಥೇಷ್ವಭಿಜ್ಞಸ್ವರಾಟ್ ತೇನೇ ಬ್ರಹ್ಮಹೃದಾಯ ಆದಿಕವಯೇ ಮುಹ್ಯಂತಿ ಯತ್ಸೂರಯಃ. ತೇಜೋ ವಾರಿಮೃದಾಂ ಯಥಾ ವಿನಿಮಯೋ ಯತ್ರ ತ್ರಿಸರ್ಗೋ ಮೃಷಾಂ ಧಾಮ್ನಾ ಸ್ವೇನ ಸದಾ ನಿರಸ್ತಕುಹಕಂ ಸತ್ಯಂ ಪರಂ ಧೀಮಹಿ. ಕಸ್ಮೈ ಯೇನ ವಿಭಾಸಿತೋ ಯಮತುಲೋ ಜ್ಞಾನಪ್ರದೀಪಃ ಪುರಾಂ ತದ್ರೂಪೇಣ ಚ ನಾರದಾಯ ಮುನಯೇ ಕೃಷ್ಣಾಯ ತದ್ರೂಪಿಣಾಂ. ಯೋಗೀಂದ್ರಾಯ ತದಾತ್ಮನಾಥ ಭಗವದ್ರಾತಾಯ ಕಾರುಣ್ಯತಃ ತಚ್ಶುದ್ಧಂ ವಿಮಲಂ ವಿಶೋಕಂ ಅಮೃತಂ ಸತ್ಯಂ ಪರಂ ಧೀಮಹಿ. ಧರ್ಮಃ ಪ್ರೋಜ್झितगैतवोऽत्र परमो ನಿರ್ಮತ್ಸರಾಣಾಂ ಸತಾಂ ವೇದ್ಯಂ ವಾಸ್ತವಮತ್ರ ವಸ್ತು ಶಿವದಂ ತಾಪತ್ರಯೋನ್ಮೂಲನಂ. ಶ್ರೀಮದ್ಭಾಗವತೆ ಮಹಾಮುನಿಕೃತೆ ಕಿಂ ವಾ ಪರೈಃ ಈಶ್ವರಃ ಸದ್ಯೋ ಹೃದಿ ಅವರುಧ್ಯತೆ ತ್ರಕೃತಿಭಿಃ ಶುಶ್ರೂಷುಭಿಸ್ತಕ್ಷಣಾತ್. ನಿಗಮಕಲ್ಪತರೋರ್ಗಲಿತಂ ಫಲಂ ಶುಕಮುಖಾದಮೃತದ್ರವಸಂಯುತಂ ಪಿಬದ ಭಾಗವತಂ ರಸಂ. ಆಲಯಂ ಮುಹುರಹೋ ರಸಿಕಾಃ ಭುವಿ ಭಾವುಕಾಃ ಯಂ ಪ್ರವ್ರಜन्तಮನುಪೇತಮಪೇತಕೃತ್ಯಂ ದ್ವೈಪಾಯನೋ ವಿರಹಕಾತರ ಆಜುಹಾವ. ಪುತ್ರೇದಿ ತನ್ಮಯತಯಾ ತರವೋಭಿನೇದುಃ तं ಸರ್ವಭೂತಹೃದಯಂ ಮುನಿಂ ಆನತೋಸ್ಮಿ. ಯಸ್ವಾನುಭಾವಮಖಿಲಶ್ರುತಿಸಾರಮೇಕಂ अध्यात्मदीपम् अतितितीर्षतां तमोन्धं संसारिणां करुणयाः पुराणगुह्यं तं व्याससूनुमुपयामि गुरुं मुनीनां नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नुमः। ध्येयं सदा परिभवग्नमभीष्टदोहं तीर्थास्पदं शिवविरिञ्जिनुतं शरण्यं भृत्यार्तिहं प्रणतपालभवाब्धिपूतं वन्दे महापुरुषते चरणारविन्दं यां यां दिशं भजति किं पुरुषाख्यवर्षे संसेवितो हनुमता दृढभक्तिभाजां सीताभिरामपरमाद्भुतरूपशाली रामात्मगः परिलसन् परिपाहि विष्णु। For the last 3 days we have been contemplating on this Paramahamsa Samhita. When we study Bhagavatam or listen Bhagavatam, generally we say Shravana, Shushrushu. Generally it is said as Katha. Katha, Bhagavata Katha. Katha means, what we understand is stories of Bhagavan, stories, anecdotes of saints, devotees, sages. All these things are replete in Bhagavatam. Not only Bhagavan's stories, but Bhagavatanam Charitam Bhagavatam. But actually Katha means that which is spoken, that which is told. Kathaya means tell. Please speak. So Katha means that which is told. In the Chaturtha Skandha, a beautiful stuti comes from Prithu Maharaja. We all want Bhagavan to come before us. But Bhagavan is afraid to come before us because we will never stop asking. But when devotees become absolutely desireless, Bhagavan is constantly with them, he appears before them in some form. Like that, Bhagavan appeared before Prithu Maharaja. And he said, Bhagavan told Prithu. Prithu is also a Bhagavan's Amshavatara. And he did many yajnas, sacrifices, Ashwamedha. And all these yajnas are done as an offering to Bhagavan, as a puja to Bhagavan. So when it reached the number 99, Indra got afraid as usual. Because if he performs 100 Ashwamedha, he will get the position of Indra. So he stole the horse. Everywhere this risk is there. Even if you go to Swarga, Why these Puranas and even in Vedas it is told Asuras and Devas are fighting. Deva Asura Sanyata San says Veda. Why it is told? Even there you cannot stay peacefully. Even if you go there, some problem will be coming. So better try to solve all problems here. So Indra stole the Yajna Ashwa, the horse, which has to be sacrificed. Then Prithu's son, he got the name Vijidashva, one who won the Ashwa. So he went behind Indra and caught the horse back and brought it back. In another form, Indra will come and steal it. It's a symbolic. We cannot say that it is symbolism or allegory. It is some mystical phenomenon which is being expressed there. Indra came in many forms and stole the horse again and again, and at last Bhrigu Maharshi decided to, not Bhrigu, Angiras, he decided to do the avahana of Indra, invoke Indra and put him in the fire. Then Bhagavan appeared before the Sabha and he told, actually it is not Indra, it is me. I came in the form of Indra because why do you want to complete this yajna and get the fruit of yajna? Better let it remain as Ekona Shatakratu, as the 99 yagas. Let it remain like that. See, we are too much attached to perfection. This is some lesson that we have to learn. We think that our action should be complete. Every action becomes complete when you attain Brahma Jignasa, when you attain desire to attain God. There ends all actions. No action will become complete, no action will end. It will go on and on and on, and you will become more and more egoistic that I have performed so much, I have performed so much. So Ishvara's one way of blessing, the power of grace, sometimes comes across and puts a hurdle in our success. Then so that we will not become proud. So here Bhagavan said, I will stop your yaga in 99. Prithu said, it is very well acceptable to me, Lord. I am not here to complete the action. For me it is only a worship, it is only a puja. And there I told you that mystical phenomenon is a spiritual phenomenon. What Bhagavata says is, Indra came in various forms, in various veshas, wearing various kind of dress. And Bhagavata says, in the spiritual field, all these kind of deceptions will be there. They will come to take people away from the sampradaya, to take them away and make them get deluded. So this is all a byproduct of a yajna. It's all byproduct of a yajna. That is one one information for that. Then Bhagavan has come. He is standing there. Nirvana Swarupa, Sudha Murti. Bhagavan told Prithu, ask and it will be given. Whatever you want, ask. We will be ecstatic. Bhagavan has to come before us and tell, ask. There is a story. One king asked his minister, what extent a man's desire can go. Then minister said, I will demonstrate. They called, invited application from people who want land donation. And many applied, and few of them were selected. And then that king told them, you run. How much distance you can run, that much distance land will be donated to you. No limit. I think still they are running. They have not stopped because they will never stop. This is the boundlessness of desire. But Mahatmas are different. True devotees are different. When Bhagavan said, ask boon, then Prithu said, Bhagavan, you are the fruit of all boons. You are Varadaraja. You are standing before me like a ripe fruit of compassion. What else do I wish to have? Varan vibho tvad varadeshwarat buddha katham vrinite guna vikriyatmanam enarakanam apisanti dehinam tan isha kaivalyapate vrinena cha. You open Bhagavata, you get a teaching, or you get a vision of Bhagavan. And here Prithu calls Bhagavan as Kaivalyapati, one who is the embodiment of Kaivalya, Nirvana, Brahma Rasa. Hey Kaivalyapati, Navrine, I don't want any boon. Hey Varadeshwara, Varadaraja. All these achievements, attainments that worldly people get by working or by praying, such things can be had even in the Narakam, in the hell. You will not miss. Even in the hell you will have all these mobile phones. Perhaps that is one form of hell. Day and night you will have mobile. You will not miss anything. And all kind of food will be there. Everything will be there. Only thing that you will miss in Narakam is Satsanga. You will not be able to hear Bhakti. You will not be able to see a sadhu, a bhakta, a yati. Such a place I don't want. This is the prayer that every devotee should have. He says, Na kamayenatha tadapyaham kvachit nayatra yushmat charanam bhuja asavaham. This samsara roga, this disease of ignorance is so dire. As I said day before, as the Ashtanga Hridayakara says, the disease is much, much more dangerous than the so-called corona. This disease is not corona, this is karona. This is doership. Kuch karona, constantly pushing you to do something in the world and get addicted to doing. And attachment, aversion, ashesha kaya prasritan, each and every cell is filled with desire. And that disease, how to purify your Lord? I want a medicine, a tonic, an antidote for this poison. This is asava. Asava is, we know, it's an Ayurvedic medicine. I want an asava, and that asava I cannot get anywhere other than in your feet. Yushmat Sharanambuja Asavaham. If I cannot get that asava, I have to sit at the feet of a Mahatma, a Paramahamsa, and listen to him about that vidya which can make me free, which will constantly remind me that I am not the body, which will constantly tell me this world is unreal. These are all medicines. These are not teachings. These are not teachings. These are all medicines. Because the world is so much on me that somebody has to very often come and tell me, whisper to me, make that knowledge enter me, constantly remind me that God alone is real, world is not real. God alone is real. Our wealth, our attachment, our doership, our enjoyership, all are unreal. This should come from an authentic master so that the teaching will deeply seep into me. Give me that boon. Very, very beautiful verse where the king, we should not say king, he is Bhagavan's Bhakta. He says, I want to constantly meet jnanis and sit at their feet. And they should talk to me right from their heart. The anubhuti has to come through their mouth, and to listen to that, my each and every cell in the body should be transformed as an ear. This is the boon that he is asking. Mahattamantar hridayat mukhachuto vidhatsva karnayutameshame varaha. Karna means ears. Ayutam, thousands of karna. Thousands means 10,000 means it is not 10,000. It means I should be able to listen with my whole being. Give me that. I don't want anything else. Then Bhagavan said, I bless me, you will constantly get satsanga. And Prithu Maharaja got the satsanga of Sanaka, Sanantana, Sanatana, Sanat Kumara. In a family, suppose there is a devotee, and in the family that bija, that seed of Brahmajnana will be always lying. That is why we say our Gotram. This Gotra, that Gotra, Vasishta Gotra, Kashyapa Gotra, Srivatsa Gotra. In all these Gotras, we speak about the rishis, those who have come in that parampara. Because that seed will be lying there. In Prithu has come in the lineage of Dhruva. And Dhruva had the vision of Bhagavan. This story comes before. We know, all of us know the story. Due to time constraint, I am making it small. Bhakti should flower in childhood. Bhagavatam began with some old people. Kunti, Bhishma. Then it entered into a youngster who had that dispassion, Vairagya, that is Parikshit. Then next came that Kapila Vasudeva, the great teacher, giving this teaching to his mother. And here comes a child. And after this will come another child who is the emperor of all bhaktas, Prahlada. So Dhruva was born as the son of Uttanapada. His name is Uttanapada. Uttanapada means his pada, his feet is above. Somebody gave a symbolic interpretation for that topsy-turvy idea. Ramakrishna says you should have God first and then world. But generally in world, people will keep world first and then last. Even in 90 years, people say, why don't you come and listen to Bhagavatam? They say, it is not time. I have some more time, after that I will listen. They still think they are very young. That time never comes. But Prahalada says, at the very childhood, you should listen to Bhagavan. And all the Asura boys, they ask Prahalada, childhood? I am just watering it because I got Bhagavan in the womb of my mother. I will tell that you should get Bhagavan right from the womb. That is the right way of getting Bhagavan, because then the brain has not developed. Because the moment brain develops, the intellect develops, it will start doubting, asserting. All these problems, flaws will come. So here, this Dhruva was born as a prince. Uttanapada had two wives. One is Suniti and another is Suruchi. Suniti means discipline. Suruchi means very pleasing. Generally, an ignorant person, what will he like? He will always like the pleasing thing, as we called Priyam. And Suniti means Hitam. He will not like Hitam. He will always love Priyam. So he was attached to Suruchi. And Suruchi had a son, Uttama. And he gave more importance to that son. One day that son was sitting in his lap. Naturally the other child, Dhruva, wanted to sit where his younger brother is sitting. He also came and sat in the lap of his father. This is a simple incident. That mother, that Mataji, Suruchi, she pulled him out and told, you have no right to sit in the lap of a king. If you want to sit, see, the more grown up we are, the more scheming, complex become our brain. She has thought about the kinghood. She is telling him that if you now sit in the lap, tomorrow you will fight for the throne. So you have no right to sit there. Then that child started weeping and looking at the father. Generally, men, they are slaves to women. He kept quiet. He didn't speak. Her Highness is there. He kept quiet. Then the child ran to his mother, and that Amma was a true devotee. She just hugged her child and said, don't speak ill about anybody. It is our destiny that is bringing us all these pain, sufferings. The only way to come out of it is already given to you. The message is given to you. The teaching is given to you. Who gave me message? Your stepmother. What did she say? She told, if you want to sit in the lap of the king, worship Bhagavan and take birth in my Garbhapatra. You need not take another birth, just worship him. Aradhaya adhokshaja pada padvam. That is enough. Only that much you take. Worship Bhagavan, then you will have no more tasya anga guha praveshaha. No more guha pravesha, no more entry into the cave of this womb, this suffering, this prison house. It is very difficult. In Kapila's story we told that jiva, that jantu entering the garbhapatra for so many days, almost 250 days. No electricity, no AC. All spicy things enter and burn the child inside. We don't know what all things the child had to suffer in the womb. Adau karma prasangat. Shankaracharya says, because of my past karma, I entered the womb. Kalayati kalusham matrukukshau sthitam mam. Because of that, I entered my mother's kukshi, that garbhapatra. Now no more that Kshantavyo me aparadha Shiva 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 Bho Shri Mahadeva Shambho. My aparadha is that in my last birth I did not get mukti. I entered the womb of my mother and gave trouble to her and took birth here to suffer and to give suffering to others. No more that. So this Amma, the Suniti said, you will have no more suffering, my dear child. Worship Bhagavan. She did not tell him how to worship, how to do bhakti. But the child had his own samskara. Nobody told the child to go to forest. Perhaps the mother or the child's father, they would have thought that he would sit in the meditation room, puja room. But the child, he walked. He started walking towards the forest. He had no guru. Guru is not needed. Only spiritual longing is needed. Only longing to attain Bhagavan is needed. If that longing is there, Guru will find you. Or you will come in contact with a right master. If the real longing, spiritual longing is not there, even if you stay with a Mahatma, you will not recognize him. So this child had that longing, the child wanted to see Bhagavan. I want to see Bhagavan. See, Ramakrishna, as Ramakrishna says, nobody gets to that state where they want to see Bhagavan. Want to have Bhagavat Sakshatkara. So here this small child, only 5 years old, he wanted to see Bhagavan. You take one step. Gurudev's words are written here in the dining, near the dining hall or in the Samadhi Mandir. That you take one step before towards God and He will come to you 99 steps. Then the 100 will be full, complete. You do something to attain Bhagavan. Swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. You say, Bhagavan, I know only this much. The rest Bhagavan will do. But the first step should come from you. The longing must come from you. The thirst must come from you. So the child had that true, genuine longing, bhakti. With that bhakti, the child started moving. On the way, it was now Bhagavan's responsibility. So Bhagavan said, Narada, Narada, go, go. Said, he sent sage Narada to guide this boy. And the Maharshi, that Devarshi, Narada was coming on the way. That divine fragrance came. That beautiful drone of Veena was heard. And the sage and the child saw sage Narada coming. He recognized, that is the greatest thing. He recognized, he fell prostrate before Narada Maharshi, did a namaskara, and started doing something. Antara japa. What are you doing? Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara. Guru Sakshat Param Brahma. Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. But he was heaving. So much of Vairagya has come over him. Then Narada Maharshi touched his head with his divine hand and started slowly moving his palm in his head. The divine Karasparsha, and said, what happened to you? The child said, my stepmother insulted me. Now I will do tapas and have the direct vision of Narayana, and only after that, achieving the highest position, I will go back. Bhagavan Narada touched his cheeks and said, why do you take everything so seriously? You are only a child. Nadhunapi avamanam te sammanam vapi putraka. The greatest teaching is given. We have to note that. The sage has done his job. He gave Ashirvada, Karasparsha. Later on, Dhruva will say that. The Karasparsha had a magic effect. He touched the head of the child and gave the teaching, have that samabuddhi. Neither praise nor insult should affect you. Nothing should touch you. If someone praises you, if you get elated, you are giving reality to the ego. If someone is insulting you, you get affected, you are giving reality to the ego. Nadhunapi avamanam va, sammanam vapi putraka, lakshayamaha kumarasya, saktasya kridanadishu. Don't be deluded. This samsara, this world is a vikalpa. Remain in the nirvikalpa. Vikalpe vidyamanepi nahi asantosha hetavaha. Vikalpas are there. Lot of problems are there in the world. Nobody can do anything. Creation is like that. If everything becomes perfect, we think only we have problems. When people complain about their problems, you know, terrible my life is. I have to work from morning to evening. Of course, I get lot of money. And my child is going to school, but not getting enough mark. These are all big problems. That is why sometimes, when people tell about their problem, the only thing, we are all traveling. That is our job. So we meet so many. So generally I will tell them, the one medicine is you listen about others' problems, their pain, their suffering. Then you will know that you are kept in a very good position. You should feel gratitude, at least that Bhagavan is giving you food. That santosha will come to you. I am able to take food, I am able to sleep, I have a house to live. Even these small things you can be happy. People are there who do not have even this. So problems will be always there. The only way to get out of problem is not to come to this world. Of course, you have done the blunder. You are here. So the only way now is Punarapi jananam, punarapi maranam, punarapi janani jathare shayanam, iha samsare bahudustare. The solution is Kripaya pare pahi murare. Oh Murari, oh Govinda, rescue me from this suffering. Take me out of this suffering. All this suffering is due to ignorance, delusion, pumsaha, moham, rite, bhinna, yalloge, nijakarma bihi. Paritushye tatastata tavan matrena purushaha. Very beautiful advice. Narada says, whatever you get with that, be happy. Whatever you get, be happy with that. Don't desire for anything. But that child, he has taken the resolve to do tapas. He said, Narada Maharshi, you have asked me to become calm. But I am not a Brahmana. I am a Kshatriya. I cannot bear this insult. I will do tapas and attain the Tribhuvanotkrishta Padam. That abode from where there is no fall. Narada felt happy. He said, Aho, Tejaha, Kshatriyanam. That kind of resolution must be there. A kind of Kshatriya is good. Brahma Kshatriya Ubhe. As Veda says, you should have the jnanam of a Brahmana and the willpower of a Kshatriya to attain the highest spiritual realization. So here, Narada said, okay. Whatever your mother told, that is worship God, that is good. I will give you a mantra, chant the mantra and do tapas. And he gave him Dwadashakshara mantra and sent him to Vrindavan, Madhuvan. And in Madhuvana, he went and started chanting Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya with the Pranava. And 5 months, standing in one leg. First month he was taking some fruits. Second month only dry leaves. Third month only water. Fourth month only air. And fifth month that prana rodha. When prana was completely controlled, curbed, stood in samadhi, achala, stood like a pillar. And all the devas went to Bhagavan and said, Bhagavan, what is happening? What is happening? Bhagavan said, Uttanapadihi, Auttanapadihi, my Sangadatma. That Uttanapada's son has merged in me. Because of that, this prana rodha has come. I have to go and give darshan to him. There's a beautiful story which devotees say. Then Devas asked, why are you not going now, Bhagavan? The child has done enough tapas. 5 months terrific tapas. Bhagavan said, where is that Narada? I am searching for him. Why are you searching for Narada? I don't know what form he has described. I have to go and give him darshan in that form. Otherwise the child will not accept. He is a child. He is not a grown-up person. So please bring Narada. It is now Devas, their problem. They went and brought Narada Maharshi there. He had his own reason to keep away. So he came and described, and Bhagavan had that makeup. Prasada Vimukham Shashvat Prasannavadane Kshanam. These are all, mantras, shlokas, which give how to meditate on Bhagavan. Various forms are given in Bhagavata. When you read those verses, that is why we have to read the Moola Shloka. Simply reading in English or our local language will not do. Prasada Vimukham Shashvat Prasannavadane Kshanam. Sunasam Subhruvam Charukapolam Surasundaram Tarunam Ramaniyangam Arunoshtekshanaadharam Pranatashrayanam Nrumnam Sharanyam Karunarnavam Each word is heavily laden with spiritual power, devotion. Here Narada says, describing that Bhagavan's form, Narada says that form is like a ripe fruit filled with ocean of compassion. Karunarnavam Shrivatsangam Ghanashyamam Purusham Vanamalinam Shankachakra Gada Padmaihi Abhivyakta Chaturbhujam Kiritinam Kundalinam Keyuravalanvitam Kaustubhabharanagrivam Pita Kausheyavasasam Kanchi Kalapaparyastam Lasat Kanchananupuram Darshaniyatamam Shantam Manonayanavardhanam. The more and more that meditative vision flowers within, more and more the devotee becomes insensitive to the outer world. He awakens more and more. Shashvad antareva prakashate. His light is within, his meditative form is within. Padbyam nakamani shrenya vilasadbhyam samarchadam hritpatma karnikadhishnyam akramya atmani avasthitam. Very beautiful. The form is there. You just have a glimpse of the divine form. It is not that you have to look at the form and close your eyes and imagine the form. That is how generally we teach meditation. But here, Dhruva says, the moment you look at the form, that form invades into you. That divine form just invades into you, akramya atmani avasthitam. It does an akramana. It attacks you, it enters you delightfully with a spiritual power, hitherto unknown to you. It comes and takes lodge in your heart. And that form Dhruva was meditating. And in that form Bhagavan appeared. Bhritya didrikshaya gataha. Bhagavan took the Garuda and came. Why did he come? Not to give darshanam, but to have the darshana of that devotee. There he appeared. Then also the child was in deep samadhi, not opening his eyes. Then Bhagavan made that inner vision disappear. When that inner form disappeared, the child looked out. Then he saw something. Savaidhiya yoga vipakativraya hritpatma koshe spuritam. All very spiritual language, very meditative language. Because the child was meditating in the heart lotus. In the heart lotus he was seeing the Narayana Rupa, and suddenly he saw a lightning inside, Tadit Prabham. And that lightning just came out of the senses, through the eyes, carrying all the 24 tattvas which is there in the human body, the Mula Vastu, the source, the divine form, taking all the 24 principles, it just projected itself from the heart and appeared before as Narayana. The child opened his eyes and saw what he was meditating is there in front. See, sometime, once it happened, that Swami Prabhuddhananda, who was a disciple of Swami Brahmananda, Sri Ramakrishna's disciple Swami Brahmananda, one day he was studying Ramakrishna's life and was having conversation with another brahmachari. At that time he was a brahmachari. And he was conversing with the brahmachari and telling him that Ramakrishna had many visions of Sita, Rama, Divine Mother, everything. That could not have happened in the outside world. It should have happened within him, in his mind. It is not outside world. He was telling like that. Then suddenly Swami Brahmananda came there. And he said, oh, you think that you know everything? You think your logic rules here? Show me the demarcation line where matter ends and mind begins, and where mind ends and spirit begins. You cannot say where this material world ends and mind begins, and where mind ends and that spiritual realm opens up. So it can happen in the outside world, it can happen in the mind, it can happen in the spirit, anywhere that divine vision can happen. Sometimes you can have a divine vision, as Bhattadri says about Guru Ayurappa, Tvad Vapuhu Chidrasardram. I am seeing your form, but it is made of pure consciousness. So here, seeing that form, Tad Darshanagata Sadvasachita Bhavandadangam Vinamaya Dandavat, the Dandavat Namaskara. Drigbhyam Prapashyan Prabhivanni Varbagaha, that child, you have to just imagine a 5-year-old child. When child sees his mother after a long period, you can see that delightful glee, that screaming, that joy. Like that, this child becomes thrilled, ecstatic, and eyes were full of tears. His body was shivering, and he was drinking Bhagavan through his eyes, and fell down and did a namaskara. Drigbhyam Prapashyan Prabhivanniva Prapashyan. Like drinking, he was looking through the eyes. Chumbanivasyena, just like you go and hug your mother and give a kiss, like that he wanted to do. Satam Vivakshandam, he wanted to say something, he could not. And then Bhagavan smiled, his Shanka is there, Shabda Brahma. Just touched his cheeks with that Shanka. Brahmamayena Kambuna Pasparshabalam Kripaya Kapole. Pasparsha Balam Kripaya Kapole. Graciously initiated that child, that Shabda Brahma, which was sleeping inside, was awakened by Bhagavan by a touch. When Bhagavan's Shankha Sparsha happened, that Veda woke up. That Veda woke up. Devim Vacham Ajanayanta Devaha. The Veda says the Devi walk. Rishis with tremendous tapas made it wake up, that walk. That is why we see so much power in their words. So here Bhagavan just touched the child, Savaita Daiva Pratipaditam Giram. That transcendental plane of something beyond the Shabda, the outer sound, then the vibrancy of that sound, then the idea of that sound, then the deepest core where there is only pure consciousness, where arises a wave from which all these things comes out. Para, Pashyanti, Madhyama, Vaikhari. The Vaikhari is the expressed sound, and Pashyanti is that vibrancy, and Madhyama is that vibrancy, and Pashyanti is that ideas alone are there in the wave form. And Para is that pure consciousness where all that is expressed goes back and merges in the source. And from that source, a stuti arose. Very profound stuti. Generally we chant the first verse in that stuti. Yontaf pravishya mama vachamimam prasuptam sanjeevayatyakila shaktidharena sanjeevayatyakila shaktidharaswadhamna anyamsha hastacharana shravanatvagadim pranan namo bhagavate purushaya tubhyam purushaya namaha. That Purusha, worshipped by the Vedas, to him I bow. And he is in me as my own inner being. By his mere presence, this Shabda wakes up. This Shabda Brahma wakes up. Yo antah pravishya mama vacham imam prasuptam sanjivayati. That vacham prasuptam sanjivayati enlivens the words that are sleeping within me. That Shabda Brahma that is asleep inside is awakened by that Lord. Akila Shakti Dharaha, by his mere presence, the hands, the legs, the ears, the skin, the breath, the mind, everything operates. The moment he leaves the body becomes a corpse. His mere presence makes the body alive. Ena, rupam, rasam, gandham, shabdan, sparshans, maithunan, etenaiva vijanati, kimatra parishishyate, etadvaitat. The Kathopanishad says, by his presence, the senses, the jnanendriya, the karmendriya, the mind, everything operates. By his mere presence, the body looks alive. But the life principle, the Jiva Shakti, the Chit Shakti is he. Saying this, Dhruva worshipped Bhagavan. He came here to did tapas to attain Rajyashri. But he forgot all that. Now he says, I want bhakti. He is asking Bhagavan, give me bhakti. Bhaktim muhu pravahatam. Tvayi me prasangaha bhuyad ananta mahatam amalashayanam yenanjasam ulbanam uruvyasanam bhavabdhim neshye bhavad gunakatha amrita panamattaha. Very powerful verse. To attain God, one should have traveled through all the wombs. The data of all that suffering must be lying hidden deep within that soul. That knowledge that you can see in Prahlada Stuti also, Prahlada describing all the difficulties of samsara, difficulties of a grihastha, all these things are described by Prahlada. How did he know? He is only child. So he is describing all that he has gone through in his various past births. So here Dhruva says, this samsara is terrible, O Lord. Ulbanam means terrible. Uruvyasanam, you cannot predict, you cannot have a ready-made solution for the samsara problems. There are many experts who says we will give you counseling, but they are themselves in problem. That is why they are sitting with the table and chair. They also have problems. So everyone is having problem. Uruvyasanam, you have one kind of problem, he has another kind of problem. That is all. Manifold problems. If you are living in the world, vikalpaha vidyamanaha. It is there, vidyate, asti. Some problem will be there. Uruvyasanam, bhavabdhim, this samsara sagara is with so many kind of problems. What to do here? Even after attainment of jnanam, there is two opinions in Vedanta Parampara. They go through all problems, nothing will affect you for a Jivan Mukta. And Vivekachudamani Shankaracharya says, after attainment of jnana, what should I do? Neshye nirvikalpa samadhina kalam. Here he says, I will remain the rest of the time not thinking about the world, not getting affected by the world. I will remain in samadhi. And some other devotees, they say, we will remain in devotion, talking about God, thinking about God, doing Nama Jabam, always having the association of Satsanga, so that we will not come to know about anything in the world. That is one way. Bhishma says in Mahabharata, and Dharmaputra says, there are certain problems, Pitamaha, which cannot be solved. What should I do? Very, very, very pertinent question. Dharmaputra asks, certain problems are there which cannot be solved. We know that there is no solution. What should I do? Bhishma says, my dear child, it is true that when you are a king, you will come across problems which cannot be resolved. The only if you cannot resolve a problem, there is only one way: dissolve it. That means don't think about it. Yadi etesham na anuchintanam. They will come, but don't continue to think about it. Anushokam, anuchintanam. Chintanam will happen, but do not pour oil into it and cultivate it. Make it conflagration. Don't do that. Don't continue to brood over it. Instead, turn your attention towards Bhagavan. Think about Bhagavan, have satsanga, live in a world where these things cannot approach you, live in a plane where this is not real to you. That is the safest way, because life means a span, a duration where all these things will come. Time is also one form of Bhagavan. In time, in Kala, your Swabhava is another form of Bhagavan. Karma is another form of Bhagavan. Destiny is another form of Bhagavan. Inside time, the span, the duration, your Swabhava operates and you do karma and experience problems. Better take care of time. Know the value of time. Fill time with bhakti. Fill time, that is why you go on reading Bhagavatam, pratarvaidiga karmataha tadanusad vedanta sanchintaya pashat bharadamoksha dharma mananat vasishtha ramayanat sayam bhagavatartha divyakathaya ratrau nididhyasanat kalo gacchati naha sharira bharanam prarabdha kantharpitam. This much years I have to live. I live with Bhagavatam, Gita, Vasishtam, Japam, Dhyanam, having visit to temple, some simple sadhanas, constantly, daily done with steadiness. Slowly all the non-essential things will drop off. So here, Dhruva says, I will live in that spiritual mood like a drunkard. Pana mattaha, in the inundation of bhakti. That pana means drinking and mattaha means intoxicated. Give me that katha, bhaktim muhu pravahatam. Let there be a flow stream of bhakti. Bhaktim muhu pravahatam tvayi me prasangaha. Give me attachment, O Lord, give me attachment. Attachment is power. Immense attachment is needed. Very unusual desire, because attachment is power, attachment is the sole cause for all the trouble we know. But this child says, give me tremendous attachment to you, so that I will have no time to think about the world, no time to think about anything else, no time to think about all this bondage, all this nonsense. Tvayi me prasanga. Sangha means attachment. Prasanga means immense attachment. Bhaktim muhu pravahatam tvayi me prasango bhuyat ananta. Hey Ananta, O infinity. Mahadam amalashayanam sangaha. Let me have contact with pure, noble saints, devotees. That simple path. I am not asking you some kula kundalini guma bhanjanam. I am not asking you that my Kundalini Shakti should go from Mooladhara to Sahasrara. No. I am not asking you for some yoga sadhana or Prasthanatraya Bhashya Pata. I am not asking you. I will take some simple path. Anjasa, some simple Nama Japa, some Bhagavata Parayana, some Gita study, going to the temple, doing Pradakshana, listening to the Katha. Anjasa, by that simple path, this terrible samsara, I will no more think about it. Anjasa ulbanam uruvyasanam bhavabdim neshye bhavadguna kathamrita pana mattaha. I will remain in that inundation. So with this we finish Dhruva Charitram, and Bhagavan blessed Dhruva to have that state, that eternal state that can be achieved by a devotee. Of course, he had that boon also to be a king, but he was not happy with it. That was his first desire. So Bhagavan could not avoid that. He gave that. But Dhruva says, after seeing Bhagavan, I am becoming a king. Is this what I wanted? Bhavachidamaya bhavam. Bhagya vivarjitaha. I do not have that bhagyam, that fortune to attain Paramahamsa sthiti. Instead of I have become a king. But later on, Bhagavan gave him that vairagya, jnana. And in the parampara of Dhruva, great Mahatmas were born, Jivan Muktas were born. Those stories are hidden in Bhagavatam. Mukta Purushas were born. After that, the Chaturtha Skanda we saw Prithu Charitra, and Priyavrata is another devotee, Uttanapada's brother. His Charitra comes in Panchamaskanda. Here, that Maitreya Samvada ends, and here Parikshit and Sri Shuka are conversing. Parikshit is said, you spoke about Priyavrata. That very name is very interesting. Taking a vrata, a resolve to have Priyam, that is Bhakti. All your life, there is only one vratam, to be affectionate, to be devotional, to love Bhagavan. That is your only vratam. I heard that he wanted to lead a complete spiritual life. Then how did he become a king, a grihastha? Bādamuktam Bhagavata Uttama Shlokasya. This Panchamaskanda is full of prose, Gadyam. It is more difficult than Shlokas. Bādamuktam Bhagavata Uttama Shlokasya Srimad Charanaravinda Magarandarasa Aveshita Chetasaha Bhagavata Paramahamsa Daita Katham Kinjid Antaraya Vihatam Swam Shivatamam Padavim Na Prayena Invanti Naradasya Charanopasevaya Anjasa Avagata Paramartha Satatvaha Brahmasatrena Dikshishyamanaha. Sometimes, we will have some desire, some goal, some inspiration. We will think, this life I will lead only like this. That is good. Some good resolve will come. Especially in Brahmacharya, there are people who will take resolve that my life in this Janma will be in Brahmacharya. I will remain as a Brahmachari. But sometimes destiny plays with them and make them grihasthas. Pulls them towards grihastha-ashrama. Some play of destiny will be happening. That force will be always there in the outer orbit. The orbit is destiny. The center is the self, mukti, freedom. You just touch the orbit, you will go round. So, Priyavrata decided to lead his life as a Brahmasatra. Brahmasatra means always living in satsanga, always living in meditation, nothing else. But he had to become a king, that was his destiny. So Bhagavan appeared before him. And Bhagavan told him, my dear child, this Narada has a bad habit of making everybody a sannyasi. That is Narada Maharshi's compassion. Gurudev, Shivanji Maharaj was also almost like that compassion that everyone should become free. He just says you can become a Jivan Mukta, you can realize the self, renounce the world, attain Atma Sakshatkara, here and now you can become free. It's all what we saw, that Vacham, Devim Vacham. It is not any statement, it is not any Upadesham, it is like a mantra which he constantly tells. You can attain God, you can attain life, realization in this very life. Meditate, inquire, who am I, realize the self. All these things he will chant like mantra. So Narada does that. He said, my dear child, don't get into this samsara. If there is only entry door, the moment you enter, not only the door disappears, the root disappears. You cannot come back. There will be only a wall. No, you cannot reopen the door and come out. So only by grace you can come out after that. There was one spiritual teacher, very well-known teacher. He has written a Bhagavad Gita commentary also. In that commentary, he gives an anecdote. Somewhere in United States, America, somewhere he went inside a hotel. There they had this virtual reality show like that. Suddenly he entered the room. Then it is not a room, it is a city through which you are walking. There are big buildings, cars are going, some vehicle is going, somebody is walking, some swimming pool is there, something is happening. You are walking in a very busy street. And he was bewildered. He was thinking, how did I get into this maze? How to get out? No door. Everywhere there are buildings. I am in the middle of the street. There is no way to go out. Then suddenly he saw a lady whom he saw in that hotel standing in the street. I don't know how this will happen. And he asked her, where is the door to get out? How to get out? And the answer is very interesting. That lady said, there is no particular door, you can get out anywhere. You have to just walk out. There is no building, no door, no street, no car, nothing is happening here. This is simply a show. You just walk through it, you will be out. This Maya is like that. You see something happening, something looks very real. If you decide, determined to get out, you can get out, because it is wherever you look, there is a hole to go out. But if you have not determined to go out, you will wait for a door to appear, and the door will never appear. So here, Narada said, don't get into this maze. But Bhagavan said, don't fear, I am here. You should become a king, but you will not fall. You will always remember me. Saying this, Bhagavan gave some upadesha to him. Even in Grihasthashrama, by controlling the senses and constantly abiding in the heart, you can have no fear. But fighting with all the sensory objects from outside world is like coming out of the fort and having a battle. So better stay inside the fort and do your fight. And Priyavrata, of course, became king. That was the purpose. And in that family, many Mahatmas, Rajarishis came. Nabhi was a king. He did tapas and prayed to Bhagavan and told him, I want a son. What kind of son? I want a son like you, Bhagavan. Then Bhagavan said, I will myself will be born as your son. And that avatara is Rishabha avatara. Rishabhadeva. These Jain communities, they have Rishabha as their first guru. The first Tirthangara is Rishabha. After him, they have 24 Tirthankaras. The last Tirthangara is Vardhamana Mahavira. That is what they say. But here Bhagavata, Rishabha is a great Jivan Mukta. When Bhagavan said in Gita, Karmanaiva hi samsiddhim asthitaha janakadayaha. Many were those who were in the field of karma and yet were not bound. And one example for that is Rishabhadeva. He was a great ruler, an emperor, and was a Siddha Purusha, a yogi, a big family man, but never bound. He had 100 children. And how did they take birth? Hridayena jata. Bhagavata says they were all born from his heart, not from his desire, born from his heart. Hence, 81 of them, they all became great tapasvis and brahmanas, Sankranta Varna. And then 9 of them became rulers, and 9 of them became Jivan Muktas. And at last one was Bharata, because of whom this Bharata Varsha got the name as Bharatam. Before the coming of Bharata, this country of ours was called Ajanabha Varsha. Rishabhadeva as a Mukta Purusha. Even though he was involved in ruling, in governing the country, he remained as a Videhi, beyond the body, never got attached to anything. But in his last days, he decided to give up the kingdom to Bharata. He crowned Bharata as the king and was about to leave. At that time, all the signs of an Avadhuta came on him. Before going, he called a sabha, a meeting, where all his children were there and all his countrymen were there. They were all with longing, with bhakti, were ready to listen to him. Then this great Mahatma, this great Yogeshwara, he was called Rishabha. Rishabha means Rishena Jnanena Bhati iti Rishabha. He shined by his Jnanam. Jnanam was shining in him. It was effulgent, hence he was called Rishabha. And another meaning is, in the group of cows, a Rishabha, a bull, stands with its head erect. Like that, in the midst of worldly people, a Jivan Mukta stands out. You can easily make out, intuit, here is a person, not an ordinary person. Ato mam Rishabham prahuraryaha. Hence, saints call me as Rishabha, one who never got caught by the samsara. So here, the Rishabhadeva is giving his teaching to all his subjects. And all of them, with so much love, is calling them as Putrakaha, my children. My children, I want to tell you something. Please take my words. This life is so precious. This human birth is so precious. having got this human body, having come to this world, please do not waste your life in toiling for unnecessary achievements and attainments and unnecessary suffering in this world. If you get caught into the prison of misery, you will never come out. So I tell you, know that the purpose of life is Brahma Jnana. You can attain the greatest sukham, not this little pleasure. Brahma Saukyam tu Anantam. You can have that Anantam Brahma Saukyam. That Saukyam of Brahma, Brahmanubhuti you can have. Nayam Deho Deha Bhajam Triloke Kashtan Kaman Arhate Vidbhujam Yem Tapo Divyam Putrakayena Sattvam Shuddhyet Yasmat Brahma Saukyam tu Anantam. He Putrakaha, Nayam Dehaha, this human body you have got in this human world. Don't waste Kashtan, Kaman, Arhate, all these desires, small petty desires. To get these pleasures, you have to suffer so much in this world. So much toil, so much struggle. After that you get a little bit of pleasure. Why do you waste like this? It is like eating the left out things, filthy things. You can do tapas, divyam tapaha. You can do sadhana. He putrakaha. Sattvam shuddhyed, do japa, do reading of good books. As Swamiji Maharaj sings, like Bhaja Govindam, he sings in English. Read a little Govinda, do japa little Govinda, do tapas little Govinda, do pranayam Govinda. Wake up early in the morning Govinda. It's like a little rhymes given to children. Shivanji Maharaj sings. It's all divyam tapaha. Small things, if we fail to take care of small things, grave problems will come to our life. We will realize this only later period. Waking up early, doing some japa, going to temple, small things. Reading regularly, systematically doing parayanam. People unnecessarily, they say, these are all rituals, these are all. There is no ritual at all. It is all solid worship. Meditation, samadhi, aesthetic things, they will come and go. You cannot do them. They will visit you when they please. Higher experiences, they will visit you when they please. But gross things like doing puja, abhishekam, worship, namaskara are done by your body, which you can hold as long as possible. So these are also very important to purify, to keep the vessel receptive to the higher things. So, he putrakaha tapo divyam. Do all these purifying tapas so that Brahma Saukyam can come to you. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyet. Your sattva guna will become pure. You will keep always your inner wick ready to get lit by that divine lamp, divine flame. Tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhyet yasmat brahma saukyam tu anantam. That bhuma, Sarva Mahapurushas, move with the saints who have dispassion, discrimination, vairagya, viveka, bhakti, shastra jnana, anubhuti. Serve them. Mahat sevam dvaramahur vimuktehe. This is the door, the way to mukti, freedom. Tamodvaram yoshitam sangi sangam, getting attached to worldly things, worldly pleasures, indulging in them is a door to darkness. So, never compromise in your spiritual life. That is why he is Rishabha. He dares to say certain things which other masters will not say. Generally, masters will say, you should worship God. You should, if possible, renounce and take to spiritual path. But you should take care of your mother, your father, your brothers, and your neighborhood, and neighbor's neighbor, country, state, everything. And when are you going to become free? I don't know. So here, Rishabhadeva says, my dear children, Maya will deceive you. Don't allow anyone to come between you and God. And he says, even if he is your guru, if he tells you, don't worship God, don't give up certain worldly things which will create bondage, don't listen to him. Even if they are relatives, they come in between you and God, don't look at them. Even if he is your father, like Hiranyakashipu, don't listen to him. Even if your mother, like Kaikeyi, don't listen to her. Even if someone tells you destiny. Today also some devotee asked, Shivanji Maharaj says, you can conquer destiny, you can go beyond destiny, become free. Because people are so much overpowered by the idea that we can never conquer destiny. And that sometimes de-energizes you from your spiritual life. Destiny or free will, both are illusory. To go beyond both is conquering destiny. The moment you conquer destiny, you conquer free will also. When you know that this Jiva Bhava is not real, this ego is not real, then whose free will, who is suffering destiny? The person who suffers is equally unreal like the person who is putting effort. Beyond both is that adhisthana, that substratum, which is nitya mukta, ever free, untouched either by destiny or by will or by desire or by suffering. Go to it, and knowing that self cannot be obstructed by any forces of destiny. You are free to transcend destiny here and now. So you can do that. Guru na sasyat, swajano na sasyat, pita na sasyat, janani na sasyat, daivam na tatsyat, na patischa sasyat, na mochayedya samupeta mrityum. My dear children, you are caught in the scorpionic grip of death. Mrityuhu dhavati, death is roaming about here and there. When you see the terrific nature of identifying with the body and succumbing to death, suppose you have some dire disease, will you say, I will treat this disease only after retirement? Now I am only 30 years old. This disease, okay, but I have no time for treatment. So I will go to a doctor after retirement. This ignorance is much more serious a problem than any physical disease. Hence, hasten to attain the jnanam. Have that urgency to attain that jnanam by which you will be free. Never enslave yourself to any outer person who can make you limited, who can de-energize you, you can make your will, spiritual will, sleep. The real will is nothing but grace. When Bhagavan's grace comes, it is infused, it energizes the will to do sadhana, to strive to attain that state of jnanam, to approach a jnani, to listen, to meditate, and to realize the self. So be very, very careful. Jagrata. Uttishtada means wake up, and Jagrata means careful. Be alert, be vigilant. Don't weaken yourself. Na atmanam avasadayet. Saying this, giving this teaching, Rishabhadeva became a Mauni. Not simply Maunam. Sometimes, people like us, we have the habit of talking. We don't know how to sometimes keep quiet. For us, Bhagavan has given us this sadhana, or this is something like a samadhi. When nothing about the world is known, nothing is thought about. Sometimes if you want to keep maunam, that power also should be there. Here Rishabhadeva, you know what he did? He took a stone like a shalagrama, like a round stone, and put it in his mouth. Neither will it go inside nor will it come outside. Not able to speak. He became a Mauni. Nobody should experiment this. He became a Mauni. Eva manushasyaatmajan swayam anushishtanabhi lokanushasanaartam mahanubhavaha paramasuhrid bhagavan rishabhapadesha upashamashilanam. All these years he had revealed that state of a karma yogi. Now he wanted to reveal that state of a Jivan Mukta. So he decided to reveal that state of a Jivan Mukta. Upashamashilanam uparata karmanam mahamuninam bhakti jnana vairagya lakshanam paramahamsya dharmam upashikshamanaha svatanaya shatajyeshtam parama bhagavatam bhagavad janaparayanam bharadam धरणिपालनायाभिषिच्य स्वयं भवनयेव उर्वरितशरीरमात्र परिग्रहः उन्मत्त इव गगनपरिधानः प्रकीर्णकेश आत्मनि आरोपित आहवनीयो ब्रह्मावर्तात् प्रवव्राज. He took the Ahavani Agni in him, Atmaropana he did, and made his son Bharata the king, and Pravavraja, revealing that bhakti, jnana, vairagya, lakshanam, paramahamsya dharmam. The Jivan Mukta's body is alive here only for giving darshanam to mumukshus, to give them inspiration. The very darshanam is a diksha. The very vision of a mukta purusha is a diksha. The moment you look at that form, the seed of mukti is sown. For that, he started moving about, but not as a king, just like a madman, or like a mauni, or like somebody who is dumb, jadanda, muka, badira, pishacha, unmadagavad avadhuta veshaha, like an avadhuta. Sometimes people will get frightened. Abhibhashyamano bijananam grihita maunavrataha. People will come and ask him question. Maunavrataha. No speaking, no talk. Grihita maunavrataha tushnim babhuva. He became silent. Decided, determined not to talk, he became silent. Tushnim babhuva, and started moving in the cities, in the streets. Sometimes people got afraid, frightened of him. Once there was an avadhuta in our village, in that area he used to move about. Very peaceful person, but with jata and or dirty look, he will be moving about. One day night after some satsangam somewhere, I got down from the train, the railway station, night, it was about 12:30 or 1 o'clock, and took a auto, and it's about 10 kilometers going to that village, and I almost was sleeping behind in the seat. Suddenly I heard a scream. The auto driver was screaming, alarmed. He said, Swami, 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 something is standing. Then I saw this man standing there, said he is a good person, don't be afraid of him. No, no, Swami, I am afraid. He was so afraid, and somehow he took me and to my house, and I said, he asked, is there any other way, route to go? Because he was afraid of this avadhuta, his ghostly look. I said, he will not harm you. I could not say he is a jnani or avadhuta to him. I told him, he is a nice, very quiet person. Don't be afraid. No, no, Swami, I am afraid. He said, then you go this way. I showed him some other route. So, this Rishabhadeva also moved about like that, and he moved down towards the south, Dakshina Desha, purifying the entire Bharata. He moved from Brahmavarta, almost this area, he moved down to Karnataka, and the Dakshina Karnataka Desha, that Kutajadri, now we see that Mukambika, that area, he entered that hill, and there forest fire was there, the wild fire was there. He decided that time has come to drop the body. He just entered the forest fire there and disappeared. Hence all the Jains, they also went down the south because Rishabhadeva went there. And here one statement is said, Bhagavan will sometimes give mukti, but not bhakti. Muktim dadati karhijitsma na bhakti yogam. And that bhakti is not simple sadhana bhakti. What Bhagavatam says is Jivan Mukti. The bhakti is Jivan Mukti. You might have Tattva Jnana. You will live in the world in a balanced way. But Tattva Jnani also in that complete manifestation of Jivan Mukti, that incessant bliss, Atmaratihi, Atmakridaha, Atmamithunaha, Atmanandaha, that kind of Nityanubhuda Nijalabha Nivirta Trishnaha, Shreyasi Atadrachanaya Chirasupta Buddhehe, Lokasya Yaha Karunaya Abhayam, Atmalokam Akyat, Namo Bhagavate Rishabhaya Tasmai. Very beautiful shloka. We have no time to comment on that. That Nityanubhuta Nijalabha. Atman is always experienced within us as aham, 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 I. But we confuse it with the body, with the mind, with the intellect. Through Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, we realize that the body is not me, mind is not me, intellect is not me. The aham shabdartha, the lakshyartha of I is Satchidananda, it is Bhuma, it is Akhanda Purna Vastu. When that experience comes inside and it remains incessant sahaja nirvikalpa samadhi, that was manifest, blossoming in Rishabhadeva, fully blossomed in Rishabhadeva. That is very rare, says Bhagavatam. That is the parabhakti seen in a Jivan Mukta. That is very rare. So, the very darshanam of Rishabhadeva in Bhagavata is a blessed occasion for us. Every time when we speak on Bhagavatam, this Rishabha Upakyana is a darshana. Now we will see the story of Bharata Yogeshwara, but Bharata Charitram in our next session in the night. Sarvatra Govindanama Sankirtanam. गोविन्द जानकीकान्तस्मरणं जय जय राम राम हर नमः पार्वतीपतये हर हर महादेव हरे राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे 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 कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे यतो ममात्मा भवसि त्वमेव ततो न वाच्यं मम किञ्चिदस्ति यथा तवेष्टं कुरु मां तथैव त्वाम् आत्मनाथं रमणं भजामि।
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं श्रीकृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं। श्रीकृष्ण भगवान की जय।